This show is brought to you by our partners talkSPORT Bet. New customers get an exclusive offer of £40 in free bets when you bet £10. Go to talksportbet.com/Inside Devils to claim this offer now.
Listen, you can question if he's always been on his A game for Man United on the pitch, but I think one thing you can't question is this guy's mentality.
We now have a reference point when we're trying to defend him.
But I hold my hands up. He got it right at the weekend, but that has to be the way going forward. This can't be a flash in the pan.
Bruno in general, you know, his 52nd assist for the club in the Premier League. Just when you need something, he just produces.
He's the best player of the post-Fergie era, no question about that.
I don't think any other player in the Premier League can side foot on the volley, first time, a cross back into the box like that.
But Arnie Slot, mate, him.
And he stood there smug after the United game and broke down everything.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So many long balls, and if you would have told me playing against a team who plays so many long balls and we're 1-0 down after 2 minutes, we had all these chances, I would have said that. How could that be? I'm sorry, Arnie. You spent 400 million quid, nearly £500 million on your team, and you're worse.
It was a disaster class from Van Dijk as well, and he's had a few of them this season. And I tell you something as well, Wirtz couldn't even start that game.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Devils, sponsored by talkSPORT Bet, and this is the show that keeps you bang up to date with everything going on at Old Trafford. We could not wait for this show. We have to welcome in immediately Angelina Kelly, Ryan Scott Douglas, and Crookie, who's been partying so hard he hasn't even made it into the studio because Man United have beaten, not beaten Anfield, well, we beat them as well, but we've beaten Liverpool for the first time in basically a decade of trying. So this is a very, very big show full of positivity. Crookie, let's get straight to it. Let's go straight to you, my friend. I mean, what a performance. What a result. How are you feeling about it?
Best part of 10 years, as you say, since United last won there. My two sons are 11 and 13. They would have no recollection of Wayne Rooney's goal in that 1-0 victory. And I'll tell you what, they absolutely loved it on Sunday. It was a great start to the game. Goal inside 2 minutes. Chances in the first half maybe to extend the lead. Liverpool, as you'd expected, came into it in the second. I've got to say, when they equalised, I had this horrible sense of foreboding that what looked like being a brilliant day for United would turn into a nightmare one. And then they have the character to go up the other and get the winner, Harry Maguire, who's become the clutch go-to man for Manchester United. That is a moment I won't forget in a long, long time.
Unbelievable from Harry Maguire, Andrew, wasn't it? I mean, like Crookie said there, he's so clutch. I saw a stat. I know you love a stat, right? I do. I can't remember it exactly, but basically it was alluding to his last 6 goals, and they were all like equalisers or winners, basically, essentially.
Yeah.
What a moment for him, because you talk about somebody who's been through the mill, currently in discussions for a new contract as well, and some people have a lot to say about that, but this is going to go a long way into maybe looking at some decisions, and I think the club want to keep him anyway, which is probably a good thing. But an amazing moment for him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was chatting to a few Man United fans who were saying he's on track to be a bit of a cult hero with that goal. I mean, it's not a huge list of people that have scored winners at Anfield, so to be in that, you know, he's in a very privileged position. But I think we spoke about it before with Harry Maguire. I think one thing, listen, you can question if he's always been on his A game for Man United on the pitch, but I think one thing you can't question is this guy's mentality. You know, he was brought in, massive price tag over his head, which isn't his fault. First 2 years was okay. Obviously, things did take a bit of a nosedive. You had the captaincy stripped off you. He's been kind of in and out of England. A lot of people talking about, this could mean that Thomas Tuchel might take him to the World Cup. I personally think that ship has kind of sailed, if I'm being completely honest.
I don't know, you know, if he plays enough games.
I just think, I mean, it depends. If he got a call up to the next international break, then maybe. But I do think the fact that, I mean, not to be shady here, but, you know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has got a call up.
And I don't think he'll go.
And so, you know, Tuchel is giving chances to more rogue names, shall we say. So the fact that Harry Maguire hasn't been included, I wouldn't get my hopes up if I was him. But like you say, you know, you never know, it could happen. But I feel like, it's been really rough for him. Things happening off the pitch, the social media abuse, etc. And you cannot question, like I say, his character. He has stepped up to the plate when needed, and he speaks really well. And again, speaking to Man United fans, he could have done a Ronaldo and gone and spoken to Piers Morgan and completely slated the team and the changing rooms and the chefs and all that stuff. And but he's never said anything. He's kept his head down and he's got on with the football, which is the most important thing. Do I look at Harry Maguire and think he's our centre back that's going to get us to winning a Premier League trophy? Probably not. I wouldn't, providing if he's willing to take a pay cut, I wouldn't be completely opposed to him staying at Manchester United, so long as he understands that you're not going to be the first name on the team sheet. We do have to prioritise people like Aidan Heaven and Lenny Yoro and their development. But if he's happy to kind of be a little bit more on the sidelines, take that pay cut, there's talk that his family are pretty settled in the Northwest, so to uproot everybody would be a lot. So if he's comfortable and if it works out, in the best interest of the club, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But amazing moment for him, and I'm really, really happy that it was him who got that goal, because he deserves it and he deserves credit where credit's due.
Yeah, Ryan, you were there at Anfield. You was in the trenches with the boys. How impressed were you with the team and this result? You've always been one here on Inside Devils when we're quite at it. You're normally the voice of reason, along with Ange at different times as well. I feel like you two, especially the ones who keep us a bit more level-headed. Is that why? Is this why? Do you feel a little bit vindicated? Not like an "I told you so" moment, but how are you feeling with it all?
Do you know what? I'm feeling amazing. By the way, that result was absolutely unbelievable, and I think moreover, and to be fair, Amorim has alluded to this as well. We deserved that. We really deserve that, because since Amorim's come in, it's been it's stormy days. He called it that himself, and it's got stormier and stormier. You asked me in pre-season, will there be sunnier days yet? And I said, I think it will get gloomier before it gets brighter. But I think the only thing I was saying was 4 games in, we couldn't call for his head. Just to remain calm and again, to hold our nerve. And it's tough. It's tough, of course, because when you actually review what we were reviewing at the time, and it's our job to react every week, it wasn't good. And the hardest thing I've had to do in talkSPORT over the last 3 years is be sat opposite a rival fan and defend Amorim. Yeah. It's difficult because your ammo goes dry quickly.
It's been basically impossible to do that.
It has. But, there were so many positives from it, and we now have, and this is the biggest takeaway for me, we now have a reference point when we're trying to defend him. We haven't had a reference point to defend him. We can now look at this Sunderland win, an international break, and then beating Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in basically a decade, where we can go back and say, look, and he got his tactics spot on. He got them spot on. Yes, it was the kind of same formations that we're used to seeing. However, we talk about this low block, we talk about going long and identifying the weaknesses of Liverpool. It made Slot get desperate. There was an air of desperation. He's playing a 4-2-4 immediately. He started getting desperate and chucking all the attackers on. So he got his tactics spot on, and Slot recognised that quite quickly. So there's so many positives. But the headliners are Ruben Amorim gets it right tactically. We get the result at Anfield. And another thing as well, the goalkeeper. My gosh. Again, we're just celebrating a solid goalkeeper here. That's how bad it's been. But I genuinely believe, I don't want to go too hard here on Baynder and Onana, but I think if either of them are in goal, we don't win that game.
No.
Because there's so many. It doesn't necessarily need a glaringly obvious error like the first one against Arsenal where he drops it. It can just be a cross into the box and the keeper palming it into danger. There were so many things that were putting unnecessary pressure on us. Or when you have a solid goalkeeper like him, this young man, it just creates an air of calmness, and it allows the midfielders, the attackers, the defenders to think about what their job should be. So I think, if we have either of those other goalkeepers, Onana or Baynder, we don't win that game. The goalkeeper was a massive positive as well, but I'm still coming down from that high flex. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And I think actually just on the manager, I think he got everything spot on. And I think actually that team sheet before the game raised a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire coming back into the squad. I was just begging for one thing, which was to please play Ahmad at right wing back and have him, obviously Mbeumo ahead of him. Please have those down the right hand side, because I think they'll cause big problems, which we know they did. We'll talk about that. But, no Benjamin Sesko as well. He scored 2 and 2, and you're thinking there's confidence there. So Amorim made some bold calls, keeping Dalot in there, keep putting him on the left. And they all paid off. Yeah. And then the substitutes, when people got yellow cards, to make sure we what the referee's like, what VAR's like, what Michael Oliver can be like at times. it's just making sure that we keep a full complement on. The substitutions he made were the right ones, and everything he did worked. And I actually like how he was after the game as well.
Yeah.
You know, basically saying, you know, one, it means nothing tomorrow. Enjoy it. Yes, this is great to win here. I know what this means. But he was also, Crookie, very honest about having to, like what Ryan says, use this as a reference point to go forth, because, you know, it's all about winning 3 games in a row now, because if we don't do that, he said, I want the media to keep the same narrative. He did have a little pushback there. You guys don't change your opinion now. We're the same team we was 90 minutes ago. I'm telling you we're the same. It's not the system. So he's telling the media not to change, but he is saying we need to get back to it tomorrow, meaning the Monday at the time, and keep on this run. Otherwise it will mean nothing.
Yeah, and he's spot on there. I mean, I've had messages on social media from Brighton fans saying we're going to bring you back down to earth the weekend, and there've been so many false dawns, haven't there, when it comes to Manchester United in the post-Fergie era. Every time you think a corner has been turned, something tends to come and slap you in the face. So this Brighton game is massive now at the weekend, particularly given their recent record at Old Trafford. They've become a bit of a bogey team, but if they do win that game, there is an opportunity for our friend of the show to finally get his hair cut, because it's Forest away after that. Obviously, Forest not in any great shape. Maybe 5 wins in a row isn't so fanciful. But you're right. I enjoyed the way that Ruben Amorim was keeping his feet on the ground. I could tell he was absolutely delighted from within for many of the reasons you've articulated. I questioned the decision to leave out Benjamin Šeško after 2 goals in 2 games, but the front 3 worked absolutely perfectly. They didn't give the Liverpool centre-backs a minute's peace. Obviously, Maguire has justified his inclusion, not least with a goal at the end. And he made the right subs at the right time.
Yeah.
Casemiro, seconds after being booked. Amad Diallo had a great game coming off because he'd been booked, because this is a fixture that has a history of red cards, and clearly Ruben Amorim was aware of that. I think he introduced Šeško at the right time as a bit of a battering ram and an outlet in attack. I've been one of Ruben Amorim's fiercest critics, particularly in recent weeks and months, like you, Flex. I didn't see that there was going to be a corner to be turned, but I hold my hands up. He got it right at the weekend, but that has to be the way going forward. This can't be a flash in the pan.
Let's talk about Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. We'll talk about Amad, we'll talk about Sonny Lummons, we'll talk about Harry Maguire, etc. Loads of players, but just those 2 in particular, in Cunha and Mbeumo. Matheus Cunha, how good was he? Because he isn't scoring goals, he isn't assisting goals. But is this one of those situations whereby the stats don't tell everything? Because when you look with the eye test about what he's bringing to the team, it's very important.
Yeah, I thought that was his best game as a Man United player. I mean, when we signed him, there was that stat going round about how he'd spent more time walking than any other Premier League player last season, and everyone was worried. I mean, the man was not walking on Sunday. He covered every blade of grass. I thought he put such a great shift in, doing a lot of the dirty work that you don't necessarily always get the praise for, because it isn't a goal or an assist or something like that. But I think he really got stuck in. He was in a couple of different positions. You've got that false 9. You've got him on the left as well, where he prefers. He just looked brilliant. And I think as the game went on and as it got more difficult, he really just got stuck into it and took himself to that next level. So yeah, he really impressed me. And we talk a lot about Manchester United signings that are flops, or they come to Manchester United and they get worse, and it's so refreshing that, you know, we've got a goalkeeper, but we've got Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha who have not declined. They've, you know, fair enough, you can argue they've not got as many goals or assists or whatever as last season, but they've really stepped up to the plate and they are really showing themselves to be Manchester United players. I think that Mbeumo's been brilliant overall since he's arrived. I'm liking this link up with Amad Diallo. I think that they're dovetailing really nicely, and I would like that to continue. I know there's a lot of questions over Amad and where he should be playing, and he should be more in that number 10 position, etc. At the moment, those two are linking up very, very nicely. He's actually perfect for that. I
think actually when you look at what Ruben Amorim's system should be when it's in its completion, his wing back should look like something like Amad. Yeah. Actually, like converted wingers that are attacking players. Where they can go be high up in the pitch. Yes, we've got to fix the midfield. We've got to dominate teams for that to happen. But Ryan, that he encapsulates Amad, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What Ruben Amorim is looking for from his right wing back, isn't he? He's starting to understand it.
100%. 100%. I mean, we were told as Ruben Amorim was coming in about these wing backs and just how important that they are. Now, Amad, I mean, his directness, his positivity. I mean, he was one of our best players last season. This right wing back role, they can either distract for the 10s, or they can create for the 10s, or they can take goals themselves. They have to be able to come back and defend, and I think that's something that obviously Ahmad's going to have to work on. But then you've got the back three there, and you've got the midfielders sitting in. So he could thrive in this position. There was a lot of talk about whether he should be playing in the 10, or he prefers to just be a right winger. But essentially, I mean, a right wing back is high up the field quite often, and we saw that at Anfield. So he could thrive. I really do believe so. And with the attitude he's got, I know his personality is like bang on as well. Everyone says he's amazing behind the scenes. So I'm just really, really happy for him that he can potentially stamp his way into this starting 11, and what a way to do it.
And with Mbeumo, we were talking, weren't we?
Yeah.
And you said you alluded to like you think he's being our best player, or is our best player at the minute. Like how good has he been?
I think he's been amazing. I think, do you know what? Mbeumo is the answer to whether signing someone within the Premier League can go right for a big club. I really do, because it looks like his transition from Brentford to Manchester United has been seamless. But a few games, for fitness, if you look at his impact across every single game, like you say, we were cycling through it before the show started. He's had a stamp on basically everything, even winning the penalty against Chelsea, was it? So he's been absolutely amazing. He's always direct. He's brilliant. And just with Cunha, I mean, you've covered it there, Ange. He was unbelievable. And even when he was walking, he was holding off Van Dijk. He was holding off Szoboszlai. Like, he's a strong boy. You don't need to check his passport either. He's definitely Brazilian. But I think as Manchester United fans, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to gamma together and just fight off these rival fan bases that might be questioning whether he's assisting or scoring goals, because the impact that he had on that game was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You talk about the eye test. He completely passed the eye test. And he's an amazing player. And that dynamic between, I don't even think they've clicked yet, Cunha and Mbeumo.
Yeah.
I think the dynamic between them two is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But Mbeumo, to answer your question, what a player, what a signing, and fair play to him for that transition to a big club, because this shirt can weigh heavy, and it looks like he's thriving in it.
Yeah, it does. Crookie, I want to talk to you about our captain. You've got a famous captain there behind you, a famous number 7, should I say, behind you as well. But Bruno assisted his 52nd in the Premier League for United with that last minute assist for Harry Maguire, which took him above Eric Cantona in the club's standings for assists. What did you make of his performance, but also Bruno in general? His 52nd assist for the club in the Premier League. Just when you need something, he just produces.
He's the best player of the post-Ferg era, no question about that. And you mentioned the numbers there. Obviously, he's been at the club longer than King Eric was, but you do question if Bruno Fernandes was in a team of the calibre that Cantona played in, would he have got even more goals, even more assists? I think the answer is a definitive yes. And I've got to say, being sort of swept up in the moment, I didn't realise how good the assist was.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
exactly.
It's unbelievable.
It's brilliant, yeah.
The fact he's hit it first time back to an area where you've got 3 Manchester United players, any 3 of those could have put it in. If Maguire didn't, De Ligt would have done. If De Ligt didn't, Dorgu would have done. To have that vision and that ability in such a cauldron, that was the game, wasn't it? On the tip of his toe, if he makes a mess of that cross, United probably don't go on and win the game. So to keep that composure in such circumstances, I think tells you all you need to know about Bruno Fernandes. And listen, if your captain is despised by rival supporters, as Bruno Fernandes is, and maligned by rival fan bases, that probably tells you all you need to know.
Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to bolt on what you've just said there, Crookie. I'm going to go bold and say I don't think any other player in the Premier League can side foot on the volley first time a cross back into the box like that. I don't think so. You see all of peers and colleagues and, Odegaard's and De Bruyne's over the years have said he's a machine, he's a creative machine. To get it up and down in a high-pressure moment in Manchester United's biggest fixture, at a time period where Man United haven't had back-to-back wins, 1-1 at Anfield, I don't think anybody else in the Premier League does that.
He has, it's the instinct, it's the instinctive nature of his, isn't it? Like, because that's a deflected shot off of, was it Chiesa? I think it deflected off, and sort of bounced back to him. And I think the lazy analysis is to sort of drop the whole, he's just putting it back into an area. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, just going to drop it in there. I know someone will get their head on it. No, it like you said, Quick, it was pinpoint and he comes into for a lot of criticism. Bruno Fernandes, he's not playing in his preferred position. We know this sort of conversion that Amorim's done to him in terms of taking him out 10 position, putting him into central midfield. But he has had ups and downs this season. He's missed a couple of penalties, missed against Brentford, missed against Fulham, but got us the winner against Burnley. He is still contributing.
Yeah, definitely. And there were times in the game where he frustrated me occasionally. You know,
10-15 minute period before he got that assist, I was saying, Ruben, you might have to take him off.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Is that classic Bruno though? Is that
But
the
that's
Marmite?
why
Is
you
that
keep
it?
someone like Bruno Fernandes on the pitch, because he can then create a moment like that, and you almost forget about the other stuff. But he's such a talent. I agree. You know, best signing that we've had post Fergie. I think that he gets a lot of stick. I think that obviously, as we know, with Manchester United, people love to go in. People will moan about him being petulant and all this stuff. Take a look at any player in the Premier League. There's a lot that do it. He's not on his own. I just think it's a bit of a cheap shot when people come in for that and like, oh, but he throws his arms up in the air. So do most players. Get over it. And I just think he offers so much. You can tell that he really cares, the way that he speaks. A lot of the stuff that we hear about time and time again that he does off the pitch, the bits and bobs that we hear about of him trying to help staff members get to Wembley and things like that, that will be 1% of probably what he does. So yeah, he's a brilliant player. Really, really happy that he got that assist. And yeah, that is why you have a player like Bruno Fernandes, because even though he might do things that will frustrate you, and I think this whole midfield thing is frustrating for somebody like a Kobbie Mainoo, because you can't really play Bruno and Kobbie, hence why Ugarte is probably, you know, coming on for Casemiro instead of Kobbie. That is frustrating, but just looking at it on paper, Bruno Fernandes is an excellent player. Yeah, he can frustrate at times, but that's why he's there. That's why he's captain, because he creates moments like that.
I wanted to bring this to the table, guys, as well, right? Because this is how you know we've done something good, right? Arnie Slot. Now this is inside Devils, right? But when we have big wins like this against our biggest rivals, we need to discuss everything, including the other team or points from the other team. So we can discuss Virgil van Dijk and Salah and, you know, how badly they are, how badly they played. But Arnie Slot, mate, him, right? Last year, obviously, when it's all going well, you know, everything's going great, they're winning football matches, and he's won the league. You know, so he's getting all the adulation off of that. Rightly so. The media is saying, tell you what, speaks well.
And he stood there smug after the United game and broke down everything. And
before the game, he tried his little digs at United. I don't know if you saw his pre-match stuff, sort of saying, you know, well, teams who play like Man United, don't see them win the league often. That's sort of reserved for playing against the big teams, you know. Okay, we take that, Arnie. We take that, Arnie. But after the game,
rattled when it's
he's out of
rattled.
Hold on a minute, Arnie. He's talking about, so many long balls. And if you would have told me playing against a team who plays so many long balls and we're 1-0 down after 2 minutes, we had all these chances, I would have said that. How could that be? I'm sorry, Arnie. You spent 400 million quid, nearly £500 million on your team, and you're worse. Your captain looks out of sorts. King Mo's got a new contract. What's he doing? You know, you've got an array of options to use to break this down. And like Martin O'Neill said on White and Jordan, I heard him say, he goes, hang on a minute, last time I checked, the job of the manager is to find a way to beat whatever's in front of you. If that's a team in a low block,
and
if
not
that's a team
funny,
that's a high press,
but a lot of teams have been able to beat us, so it ain't difficult.
We ain't got back-to-back wins, mate. So, Crookie, I just wanted to see
Crook,
what
you'll have spoke to him surely in the tunnel or seen him. What was he like?
Yeah, do you know what? I find him easier post-match than Jurgen Klopp. However, when you break down his comments, there were sour grapes, weren't there? Talking about the low block and the long balls, and also about Benjamin Šeško. That was the most baffling comment to me. The fact he pointed that United had started Šeško for their previous 2 games and then decided not to against Liverpool.
So how dare we change things up? Yeah.
It's not Ruben Amorim's job to pick the team that Arne Slot would prefer to play against. It's Ruben Amorim's job to make it difficult for Liverpool, and those changes did that. So yeah, he was rattled. Liverpool fans were rattled. It's 4 defeats in a row for them, uncharted territory for the Dutchman since coming in. But yeah, it was interesting, as you say, maybe to see that mask just slip just a little bit for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ryan, for you, I mean, you know, you look at Van Dijk, you know, he injures his own player. Then he has a pathetic challenge on attempt of a challenge
on
Bruno.
Someone else who is petulant, by the way.
Absolutely petulant.
And gets away with it way more than Bruno.
He's sort of refusing to just get his head down and sprint back, lets Bruno run past him, tries to pass him over to Konate. Konate doesn't come. Absolute awful from them. Mo Salah, snatching at chances.
He went missing.
You know, Isak...
Oh, my God.
That's what happens when you buy an unfit player, isn't it?
Exactly.
And a baby.
Kirk as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Kirk, what's going on with him? Liverpool, mate, all over the place. So there's all this talk about Man United negative or Man United sitting back or back five this and blah, blah, blah. Hang on a minute, Liverpool.
I know.
We were told that the league's over. We were told you've broken the transfer record twice in a window, mate.
Yeah, we were told they were going to win the league in the summer when they signed Isak. I tell you what, it was a disaster class from Van Dijk as well. And he's had a few of them this season. He's been getting chopped week in, week out. And I tell you something as well. I don't know if you saw circulating who the flop of the season in terms of signings was. And Šeško got voted ahead of everybody else. I'm sorry,
Athletic,
but Wirtz couldn't even start that game. He couldn't even start. He got dropped to the bench.
Yeah.
Didn't start the game before that either.
He's gone missing, Wirtz. No one's talking about it. I was hearing Wirtz is better than Bruno in the summer. I don't think so. He's gone missing. And Isak, that's what you get for signing a baby who didn't want to train with Newcastle in the summer. That's what you get. And now he's unfit, and now he's taking God knows how many games to get going.
And also, if you're doing that as Alexander Isak, then you should have been on your A game behind the scenes making sure that you were fit, because the bottom line is he ain't fit.
Exactly. No. And then if you're telling me that Wirtz and Isak need to get grace, need to get time, I don't think so. No. Not at those prices. You don't get that luxury. You need to hit the ground running. So they've gone missing. And I'll tell you something, there might be a little bit of a smirk on my face. I'm enjoying these last 4 games for Liverpool.
Brilliant. I mean, the reality is, obviously, they're going to work things out. They're not going to keep losing.
And
but
you know what?
That's why we've got to enjoy it.
They did have a lot of chances in the game, but I always feel like games like this does operate off a little bit of luck as well. You have to have it. You can put it in the back of the net, then, because you look at someone like Mo Salah. Mo Salah from last season would have scored 2 goals in that game.
Yeah.
I was hearing they'd be 3-0 up at half time, Flex. These are some of the predictions that I was hearing. I can't believe it.
Can we just acknowledge that I did actually get the prediction right?
You did get the prediction right.
Just so everyone knows.
I have to hold my hands up.
You two, Crook, Flex, you were a little bit more negative, which I understood going into it, but just saying.
And the reason, and that's a good segue, because the reason why we were, pessimistic isn't just because of, recent woes. We've been discussing, the last time we won at Anfield was 2016. I wanted to just bring to you the squads of how much has changed since then. Actually, let's have a little bit of fun. Crookie, give me one name on the team sheet. We'll go around. Let's try and Crookie's quite good at these things. But Crookie, give me a player. Who was in the Man United starting lineup then?
David De Gea.
Right, David De Gea. And give me one.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, yes.
Oh, gosh.
Ryan.
I think.
2016.
Oh, let's go. Who was right back? Raphael?
Nope.
Let me think. Centre midfielders.
I bet you any money Crookie can name the full.
He definitely will be able to be fair. That's a bit of a cheat
just because he's older. We were young them days.
I mean, it's only 10 years ago.
Was it the Kagawa era?
No, after that.
Oh gosh, I'm struggling here.
Kagawa.
What would the squad have been? Go on and
if you get one wrong, you're out now. Herrera, yes.
Good shout. Mata?
He was on the bench and he came on, so yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have that.
All right.
Crookie, feel free to chime in, even though you're going to know one more.
No, I don't think I do. You've taken a few.
Luke Shaw?
No, because he might have broken his leg then. He was injured.
I'm trying to think of who the centre backs might have been.
Yeah.
2016.
Who's the centre backs here?
I couldn't have been that
what
good if I can't
about
remember.
Jesse Lingard?
Jesse Lingard is a tick.
Shout.
He started the game, came off after 66 minutes.
Is there an argument to be made?
Go on.
The team on Sunday was dramatically better than that team.
Yes.
Massive argument to be made.
100%.
I would say so. Cunha and Mbumo, Bruno as like stars. Ahmad as really good attacking players. That day we had
I think you
Lingard, Martial, Rooney. Yeah, even the centre backs.
You centre backs.
The keeper, okay, that's he's not better than De Gea yet, but that version of De Gea, especially 2016 De Gea, he was unbelievable.
I mean, I know that he's not his best at the moment, but you have got Casemiro in that team. That's still a big name.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean, look, Memphis Depay came off the bench. Mata came off the bench. And here's one for you. He's number 43. Who do you think number 43 was?
Januzaj.
No, not Januzaj. No. Not Januzaj. It's a proper throwback, this one, guys. Proper streets won't forget.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Rabel Morrison.
No, that's way off. No.
Not Makeda.
Come forward. We're talking under Louis van Gaal, remember?
43.
Yeah.
Oh.
He used to do really well under Louis van Gaal.
And not Januzaj.
Recently just joined Baller League, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Cameron Bothwick Jackson.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Remember that little period where Bothwick Jackson, his little
43.
run?
Yeah.
The little
I've
run
got
in the
no
afro.
recollection.
You got no recollection of Cameron Bothwick Jackson?
If he was in front of me in the queue in Sainsbury's.
No.
I would know.
If he's still got the same hair. You know what I mean? But we had some players. Look at that. Varela on the bench. Remember him?
Yeah.
Paddy McNair. You know
Paddy
what I mean?
McNair,
Little ones the streets won't forget. So there you go. Just a little bit of a quiz for you guys at home.
I'm sure the people at home did better than we did.
Better than us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We did have a week off last week
Yeah.
before this Liverpool game because it was an international break. And the international break usually throws up some things, some quotes, some interviews, players talking,
Yeah.
minority owners talking. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe spoke, which looks like it's aging all right after beating Liverpool, but we didn't really get a chance to have our say on this because it happened in the international break. Angie said that Ruben Amorim needs 3 years to prove himself. He wants to give him 3 years. And it raised a lot of some scrutiny and some sort of adulation and praise to be like, good, finally get behind the manager exactly what he needs. And some people sort of saying, what do you mean 3 years? It's clueless, this, that and the other. What did you make of Sir Jim's interview and some of the quotes, but mainly the one of wanting to give Amorim 3 years?
I think that we can criticise Sir Jim Ratcliffe for so many things, and there's so many things that he said that are absolutely ridiculous in my opinion, but I think that's pretty level to say 3 years, to be completely honest. I think that it might even be more, who knows?
Hopefully it is. I mean, something's going right if he is.
Yeah, but I think to come out and to back the manager to say that he needs 3 years, I think that's what you need, especially during a time where we've been so up and down. There have been a lot of calls for Ruben Amorim's head, and for him to come out and say that, I like that. I think that 3 years, I don't think that it's ludicrous. I don't think it's absolutely ridiculous to say that. And I know that we've had a lot of debates about it, should managers be given time if something's not working? Do we do a Marinakis and just, show him the door? Or do you sit and persevere with people? And I think, again, something that I've spoken to Manchester United fans about, this isn't just a quick turnover. This is it's a full house renovation. Like, you are pretty much tearing everything down and starting back from scratch. So it's a big job, and I think that Ruben Amorim is approaching it very differently to the other managers post Fergie, and I'm not mad at it. So yeah, I think I can criticise Sir Jim Ratcliffe for lots of other things, but I wasn't too bothered about it.
Yeah, I mean, was it? How was it for you, Ryan? Because, he also said, to add a bit of context, he did say, I want to give him 3 years, but ultimately we're led by results,
Yeah.
And then Ruben Amorim's response to that during the international, just coming out of the international break when he was asked, obviously, was, how do you feel about that, Ruben? And said, they tell me that all the time. They share messages with me.
They do seem to communicate a lot from what we're hearing.
100%.
Yeah.
He's not, the fact that they've shown public backing to me is not a surprise because I've had it privately. It's nice to hear it publicly.
Yeah.
But he said, I'm not dumb. His quote, he said, I'm not dumb. And in football, they know, I know, we know that football is not like this, i.e., if I lose too many games, I'll be out. So I don't think there's any reason for there to be any uproar. Owner wants to give manager time, yes, but if we don't win enough games, he'll be sacked.
Yeah, ultimately, that is what it was. I think that the 3 years part, it took the headlines.
Yeah.
There was a lot of elements for me, to be honest. I know I'm usually quite positive. I don't think he should be saying out loud that he's going to give him 3 years, but it's all results dependent. I just don't. I think it's quite redundant. I think if you're going to say you're going to give him 3 years, say it to him directly. As long as Ruben Amorim can take that, he's got 3 years and he's got the.
What would you have liked? What would you have liked to Jim? How would you have liked him to answer it?
I don't think he. Well, I don't know the question that was asked. To be fair,
I think it was paraphrasing.
Yeah.
The manager, do you back him, or do you believe him, or thoughts on the manager?
I don't think he needed a time.
Like
I don't think he needed a time period on it. But on the flip side, I wasn't majorly offended by it. But on the flip side, I would say it probably will take 3 years.
Yeah.
For Ruben Amorim to get us back to top 4 battles, to get us in for potentially a Premier League title challenge. Because even though obviously there's a lot of positivity now, Man United aren't back.
Nowhere near.
We're nowhere near back, and by the end of the season, even if we have a good season, we still need. There's going to be so much pressure.
We're only
next
back
season.
when we win the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly
that's
that.
it. Or Champions League.
And like I've said, we're very much in the foundation building stage at the moment. We're still there. We're still there in the foundation building stage. We can't even put the bricks on yet. We can't do that. So I think it probably will take 3 years. If I wouldn't have put a time period on it. I don't think he needs to put because it dominates headlines.
But his contract's 2.5 years. So effectively probably just rounding it up.
Yeah, I just don't think it didn't really offend me, but I just don't think it needed to be put out there and put a time period on.
Crookie, for you, did you like that? Did it need to be said? There's a lot of noise around Ruben Amorim, of course. Was it good for Sir Jim to come out and publicly show that? And that's not the first time he's done it as well.
No, it isn't. He did it with Eric Ten Hag and then fired him. He did it with Dan Ashworth when he told us he was the best in class and then fired him. So I don't know if they'll be taking too much solitude from it if I'm Ruben Amorim, but it should at least embolden him in the dressing room. And that's one thing we've not touched upon, actually. When you look at the players who maybe aren't a big part of what's happening at the moment, Colby Mainoo, you've mentioned, was being lifted up by a member of the coaching team, I think, at one point after full time. Joshua Zirkzee didn't come off the bench, didn't get a kick, was very much part of the celebrations post-match as well. So what I think you are seeing from the cleansing that was done in the dressing room in the summer, for the first time in a long time, this is a squad that does feel united again. It feels like the bad eggs have been weeded out. And if by Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming out and publicly backing his manager, it gives him more power in that dressing room, then I don't think that's a bad thing.
Absolutely. I think for me, it is about consistency now. We just have to win football matches. You just have to win football matches. That is the only currency that matters. It's the only thing that brings us further away from a point of uncertainty, from a point of, anger and frustration. Just win. And whether they come with playing a low block, whether it comes with how we played against Sunderland, how we played against Burnley in the last minute, in this period, because it's been so bad for the first sort of 50 odd games in all comps for Ruben, it's just about getting over the line. And if we don't get over the line, these questions will persist. And I think whether you think that Ruben's going to be the right man, whether you don't think he's going to be the right man, whether you're 50-50, the one thing we can all agree on as fans is that we just have to keep winning games. And then, for me, I'm not one of these people that's like, once I see a new set of evidence to suggest something else, I'll be like, right, I'll tell you what, 20 odd games ago I was here and here's what I've seen in that 20 games, which is a sample size big enough to see us going an upwards trajectory. What I'm not going to do is just sort of sit here and just keep changing my opinion with one game. We just beat Liverpool. I could just be like, well, you know what, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not even to have the conversation after every... It's got to the point where we're trying to have the conversation about the manager after every game. I don't even think we need to do that. Like, if we lost against Brighton, I'm not going to start bringing up, and this is why. I just want to see us win games.
Exactly.
And the longer that we go without sort of doing it, the more problems we're going to have. So the fact that Sir Jim backed him, newsflash, obviously it's their appointment. They've invested a lot of money into it and time, and they want to see it work. But ultimately, if Ruben Amorim loses the next 5 or 6 games in a row, that's not going to happen. I don't believe it will, but let's just say he did, he'd probably lose his job. And Ruben says that, and so does the man. So does the hierarchy. So I think you can want to give somebody time, but they have to get the results to go with it. Just quickly, actually, before we move on to the Brighton game, I just wanted to ask about one thing that Gary O'Neill said on Monday Night Football. I don't know if you guys saw it. And he was basically talking about us playing in that way, with, building up in a 5-4-1 or, playing on the counter-attack, etc. It's going to be more of a challenge to get Man United to be on the front foot, to dominate teams and really go and win, multiple games, etc. Do we need to be careful, Ange, of that, or is it a case of no, we are aware of that, it's different horses for different courses? How we played against Sunderland wasn't how we played against Liverpool, wasn't necessarily how we played against Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of talk about the way that Manchester United lined up and how, this formation seems to work for the bigger clubs. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, that you've got something lined up that can challenge the bigger clubs. But yeah, we have seen Manchester United play differently in different games. Would I still like to see things tweaked and changed a little bit more? Yes, 100%. But yeah, I don't pay too much mind about it, because I think the main thing, as we've been saying, is that we just get this consistency. However we win a game, we win a game. I think it's just got to be all about the consistency. Bruno Fernandes spoke about it, about how it kind of doesn't really mean much. I think that this Liverpool result will go down, in history. So I don't think that losing against Brighton means we're totally back to square one, because we've still got that. But it is going to be very, very important. I'm interested to see how we do line up against Brighton. And when I looked at the Liverpool lineup, and there was a lot of talk about the Lenny Yoro situation, and I did think on paper it was a very slow back three.
He was.
But
that got undone against Brentford in a bad way. That one.
But I was like, listen, it worked. It worked on Sunday, so I'm not too fussed. I do think that Yoro will probably come into that because, and also like, he's a good player. He's only 19 years of age, and I do think that the experience of, those three centre-backs that we had do have a lot of experience, and I will give them that. But I think we'll see Yoro in that Brentford game. I think that he's more of the defender that we need with the legs, because it's not going to be an easy game, especially the form of our old player Danny Welbeck.
Crookie, for you, Brighton, like Ange's talking about, I think there's going to be some changes there. If a team wins for the first time in 9 years against Anfield, can you change the team the next game for a different sort of challenge, for a different sort of game at home against a really good Brighton team? Or should Ruben Amorim go, tell you what, that's the first time we've got back-to-back wins, let's keep the same?
It's a brilliant question. And before I answer it, you're talking about the run of form. I was just totting it up there. It is 4 wins in 6 now.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm not completely rewriting history, because obviously I was very critical after the Brentford game and after the derby, but that's a decent run of form in what is a very competitive Premier League. And then you look at the season as a whole. They've already played Arsenal, unlucky to lose that game. They've beaten Chelsea, obviously got hammered in the derby. They've now won at Liverpool. That is a difficult start to any season for any manager. So there should be an opportunity now to really put some points on the board. But this is a difficult game against Brighton. Do you change the team? Potentially, because I think Brighton are a very different threat to Liverpool. I think they're probably firing more going forward than Liverpool are at this moment in time. Obviously, Danny Welbeck in great form, scored a couple of braces in 2 of his last 3 games. So it wouldn't totally surprise me if Šeško was to come back in and maybe a Mason Mount was to set out. You can't drop Cunha after his performance at the weekend, and you're not going to drop Mbumo. So there are certain players who I think are cemented, but it wouldn't shock me if he tweaked it up front and maybe even tweaked it defensively as well. Does Harry Maguire find himself back on the bench and Lenny Yoro comes back in for, fresher, younger legs in defence?
I think you have to change flex.
Do you have to change it because of the type of game and what the different type of threats?
I think it'd be a mistake. Let's
a mistake to go with the same team.
To go with the same team. Let's not get confused here, right? It was an amazing victory against Liverpool, but we went in as the underdogs. We went in knowing we were going to get attacked, and that's why Ruben Amorim plays a low block and a long ball. Okay, we don't want to be doing that necessarily against Brighton. I know Brighton, are a good team, but it's not one size fits all, and we need to see some form of reaction. Maguire plays that game because if he's any higher up the field, we know he can get done for pace. It's happened a few times this season already. I'm a massive admirer of his attitude and his redemption arc, and I've criticised Maguire quite a bit, but I've never criticised how he is in the opposition's box ever, because there's few players in the league that can get their head to the ball like he can. So look, he comes with a lot of positives and a lot of strengths. However, I think Lenny Yoro has to come back in. Personally, that's my opinion, and like you say, potentially Šeško as well. But I'm actually looking defensively more than I am on the attacking aspect.
I think what Ruben has showed us anyway is that actually when we think there's a certain team that should be played, or we think, we've won that game, going to name an unchanged 11. He doesn't often do it. He's always like a little curveball, and there's always like, didn't think that would happen. He does things his way. He does things his way, and he does sort of show us that which is more your way of thinking. Actually, he does look at it more game for game. Yeah. We're at home against Burnley, it needs this. We're at home against Sunderland, it needs that. We're away to City, it needs this. Šeško didn't start that. He did start that game, actually. But so he started him away against City, but against Liverpool, he was like, if we would have played him, I didn't want them to be able to just work out how to play with our striker, play against our striker, so we put Mbumo there. So he does strike me as a manager who will probably make changes, considering. Yeah. Harry Maguire's an interesting one, though, because it would be so harsh to do that, and you don't get to follow up with a start. But the team has to come first. And if he believes that this type of game with the fluidity of Brighton in which they play in, that the pace of Yoro in that right channel is going to be more influential, then go for it. But also, if he believes, Harry's I've seen him train all week. He's possessed. Yeah, agreed. We go with the same back three. I'm also not mad at that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I think the non-negotiables I would have would be Mbeumo, Ahmad.
Cunha.
I think you have to say Cunha now. The midfield,
Goalkeeper, obviously.
the goalkeeper, obviously. I think we have to see if Casemiro, whether that was just a little bit of tiredness or, you know.
I mean, he'd also been playing for Brazil. He'd been
in Japan, wasn't he?
Yeah. He'd been representing Brazil in Asia. So,
but he's got a whole week to
not
prepare.
like he'd have been flying back economy, by the way. Can I just say
Feet would
that?
have been up.
Like, yeah,
Flight
he'd have been
socks
all
on.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe not that many changes, but I think if there is going to be a change, I think it could be at centre back, and I think it could be Šeško back in for Mount is probably the obvious one. But I don't think he changes too much.
I think what you've said there's really, really important though, because you got Man United fans, pundits are like, calling for consistency. That's the consistency where there's those staples absolutely everywhere. I mean, we'd want to get in a position where the starting 11 is unchanged every week, but with the squad isn't strong enough yet to do that. We've been doing this show week in, week out, and we say sometimes it's a manager, sometimes it's the player, but I think as long as you've got those staples, that core, that kind of spine of the team, that's there and consistent. That is the most important thing. I just don't think Maguire belongs in that personally. So
week in, week out.
Week in, week out, no. But he's an asset to the team, no doubt.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Let's lock in predictions then. Crookie. We were very pessimistic, yourself and I, in the last one. How do you think this is going to go? Manchester United versus Brighton. Can we back this up with another win? I can't even believe I'm saying that, which would be 3 on the spin.
They tend to be a streaky team this season, Brighton. So I fancy them to beat Newcastle because they hadn't won their previous game against Wolves. So if that is going to be the same scientific reasoning for this weekend, I'm going to go for a home victory, 2-1 United.
Home victory. I do like that. Ooh. Okay. And you're always positive. I mean, do I even need to ask you?
Or do you think
no? Or do you think no? You've used up the positivity.
My
and you
spidey
can
senses are tingling. There's a part of me that could see something like a 2-2 draw, if I'm being honest. But I want to continue the positivity. I do think Brighton will score. So I'm gonna. Who can I see scoring for United, though? Can I see him scoring? I'm going to go 3-2 to United.
I do like that.
3-2 to United, yeah.
Ryan, going positive?
I'm going 3-2 as well, believe it or not. I'm on Angie's line of thinking. I thought that this game against Liverpool would be really close. I did, hands up, say I'd love to get a draw, but Liverpool might edge it. But I knew it would be a close game. Everyone was saying we got blown away, and I didn't believe it. I think if you had to pick that game that gets us back-to-back wins to build momentum off, we'd have picked to beat Liverpool at Anfield. And I just feel like that momentum will take us into this Brighton game. It'll be a bit of a ding-dong, like Ange just said, and I think we'll edge it 3-2.
Yeah, I'm going to go positive as well. I do feel quite confident that we'll get a win. I'm not confident it'll be an easy win by any stretch of the imagination. Brighton are a very, very good team.
It's written for Danny Welbeck to
exactly,
score a goal,
and he's in great form. You know, they've been playing really well, and our recent fixtures against them, home or away,
it's not
at
been
the Amex
easy.
or at home, has been really, really difficult against Brighton. They know how to play against us. And Fabio Hertz is a fantastic coach. It's the Belabour derby. You know, we're going to be looking at him. Hopefully, he has a stinker. Drop that price down by 30 million. I'm going to go 2-1 United.
Yeah.
I think it will be tight. It will be tight.
We're all predicting wins.
So we're all
That's
predicting wins. Look at that.
Whoa.
A full house. This has been Inside Devils. We're hoping for 3 in a row. We'll see you on next week's episode. Hopefully with another win in our back pockets as well. Take care. See you then.